So George, we've come, I suppose, to your farm today, and your name, I suppose I've been following it for a good few years in terms of your journey. Your background is different to most, I suppose, that are in dairying.
Yeah.
Maybe for people, could you maybe where it all started and how you got
Yeah.
your love for farming?
So I'm not from a farming background at all. So grew up in London, and then we moved out to Essex when I was about 5. Family are actually all architects, so that was good. And then was like interested in, like, you know how most kids have a toy farm? Like mine was like next level, but that was fine. And then aged about 15 was getting, like, looking at jobs, and I had a job working on a pub, washing up, and I had another job on a sheep and arable farm. And if you're 15 and you get paid to wash dishes or chase sheep in a pickup truck, like, one's more fun than the other, isn't it? So I was really into farming. Was kind of encouraged not to go into farming by parents and teachers and stuff that meant really well. Like, we hear horror stories about the industry the whole time. That's a real shame about dairy farming. But anyway, one thing led to another. Went to university, finished. I was looking at what I could do after university, and was looking at kind of Nuffield scholarship reports that had been written, and Rhys Williams and Michael Blanche had just written their Nuffields at about that time.
What year was that roughly?
Must have been like 2012, 2011, 2012, would it, I think. Got into that network, went to go see Rhys, was looking at lots of options, like went to see some pigs in some woods, thought, like, pigs in woods, that's what I'm going to do, and then saw some put my milking goats and thought that'd be great, and then met Rhys Williams, and at that point Rhys was just about to buy his first farm, and that was like these things are a bit cliched, aren't they, but that was like a real light bulb moment. Like, crikey, this is what you can do. So slippery slope from there, really. Went to New Zealand, spent a couple of years out there with some amazing farmers out there.
So who'd you work with there?
So I spent 1 year with Kieran and Leonie Guiney near Fairley, so they're quite well known. Leonie used to do lots of consultancy in Ireland. Kieran is Irish. 900 cows in a herringbone there, that was brilliant. And then spent a second year with Mark and Devon Slee, who were milking 2,500 cows through 3 rotaries. And we're just, I could not speak more positively about those guys. Like, amazing people to work for, phenomenal herds of cows, really good business, doing some good environmental stuff, way ahead of their time. Like, unreal.
So you decided to come home?
Yeah, wanted to come back to the UK, hadn't had a crack at things over here, didn't want to be the guy who had ruled out UK agriculture without trying, and then came back here, worked for Robert Craig in Cumbria for 4 years. What were we, like 300-400 spring calving cows? Loved that. Realised, like, all the stuff we were doing in New Zealand was basically the same over here, like, so transferable, like amazingly transferable actually. Was there for a bit, and then my father passed away, wanted to live a bit close to, be nearer my mum, who was in London. So moved down to the Midlands, spent 2 years with the Pilkingtons, another really great business, 600 spring calving cows, that farm that I was on there. All the while I've been, like, buying empty cows or heifers and calves, getting them contract reared on sheep farms, getting them in calf and then selling them. So was trading a bit of stock, and had leased a few cows, saved some money from salary, and then was back in the UK for kind of 6 or 7 years, and then here Bisterne came up. Was looking, like, I'd applied for tenancies and county council farms and failed, and then here came up as a contract farming agreement, was just lucky to apply, and crikey, was lucky, like, to have managed to get involved in something with, like, a bit of scale like this, with phenomenal people in the background to work with. Good milk contract, good base herd of cows, like, I applied for and would have been delighted to have got things that were far worse than here. So in hindsight,
it's worked well for you.
Yeah, in hindsight, amazing.
Yeah. So when did you start?
So you started here, moved down here in 2019, and then here we're in year 5 now of a 5-year contract farming agreement, and then we've just secured a 10-year kind of extension on the back of that. So lucky now, really, to have a bit of security to kind of build from, and hopefully use this as a platform for what we want to do next, maybe.
So you're milking how many here?
So we milk 600 cows, calve 400 in the autumn, 220 in the spring. Yeah, grazing grazing system on a farm that is relatively dry, so and just really free draining. So reasonable rainfall, but just really free draining soil. So we burn up in the summer. Quite a big land area, so about 180 hectare platform, 180 hectares of like river meadowy, heathlandy stuff like this. 70 hectares of silage lays, red clover silage lays. About 50 hectares of parkland, and then about 200 hectares of crops, fodder beet and maize coming into the cows. So on a like per hectare basis, we're very lowly stocked, but a chunk of the hectares look like this and go underwater in the winter. Like
Okay.
this is not being managed for intensive agriculture, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like a bigger environmental picture that
Yeah.
is important to the estate.
Yeah. I suppose, look, one of the key things I see today here as well, looking at the farm initially, was you have a young team.
Yeah, we do.
So they're here, and they're obviously, they seem to enjoy working here. So
You'll have to ask them.
Yeah.
We're hugely fortunate with the people that we have here. So yeah, we haven't advertised for about 4 years, which has been amazing. Someone I'd worked with previously, one of the previous guys has stayed on here and been outstanding really, and knows much more about the farm and the estate than I do. Another girl, I knew her brother. There's also like there's two very good colleges. We're kind of halfway, 40 minutes ish from Sparshot and Kingston Morwood College. Sparshot, like especially, has got a phenomenal support structure for its students. So we've been really fortunate with a couple of students that have come through Sparshot. But yeah, young team. Lots of what we do is quite outside, and there are physical elements to it that can be tiring, I guess. And I just like working with young people. I find I can sympathise and empathise more with a 17-year-old who has just split up with his first girlfriend, more so than a 50-year-old divorcee. I don't know. So we just like people that are keen and green. Regardless of age, we just want people that are enthusiastic.
And I guess it's a benefit of you working on a lot of farms. You've seen how maybe people are employed and how people are treated, and it's a skill that a lot of people maybe don't have.
Yeah, true.
It's taken for granted, but you're obviously doing something right.
I guess I've been lucky. I've worked for some amazing employers, like a string of amazing employers. So I've been very fortunate there. This is a really nice place to live and work. Like, that's completely out of my control, but it's a lovely estate to be based on. We have good houses that we rent for the guys. Like jobs that are saying regular time off and things like that. That is ridiculous if that is the bar. Like, obviously people have got regular time off and will try a lot harder to be a better person to work for than just giving you every other weekend or whatever. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, we can be a bit behind, can't we, as an industry with that? Very fortunate to have.
But I guess treating people with respect.
Yeah, we try.
Obviously people make mistakes, everyone does.
Yeah.
But it's been measured with your approach. And
I think probably everyone thinks they're quite calm. I'm okay at looking past little mistakes and seeing bigger picture stuff. Like that's fine. And it wasn't very long ago that I didn't know what milk fever was and was crashing the scraper tractor into a fence post. Like, that is in the recent history. Yeah. Like, within the last couple of weeks. No, that is within the recent history that I've been in that exact same position. So I generally, hopefully, can at least empathise with that a bit.
So I suppose you recently won a very prestigious award in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
So could you tell us about that, and maybe for people who weren't familiar with that award? What's involved?
Yeah, so the Gold Cup is like a long-running dairy award in the UK. Probably it was put on our radar really by an amazing farmer in a discussion group that we were in. Had entered it and made the final a couple of years ago. And that is a phenomenal guy. So kind of we were inspired a bit by that, and then we were talking about it one breakfast time as a crew. Saying it'd be quite a fun thing to do. I kind of thought, okay, that'll be a nice project for us to get involved in that might encourage a bit of attention to detail and be a nice little technical focus for us. So we thought, oh yeah, that'd be good. You fill in a form online, some judges come out in it was like November, December to give you a hard time about stuff. It was good. Yeah, and yeah, it was ridiculous that we did okay. I mean, amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely unexpected.
Okay.
Like, so for context, like the thing gets announced at the Dairy Tech show, which I think is in like January or February time. No one had got in touch with us to check we were going. So,
Okay.
so therefore you assume like we've
not
not
gonna
won this, like, and then there's like a big awards thing that they get, and Jimmy, my colleague, and I went along, and we had this table that we've been given with like fancy drinks on, and then we sat down, and I was like, "That's funny. It's right in the middle. That's weird that we've got a table." But yeah, crazy. Very lucky.
Yeah.
I think we were just fortunate. Like, builds on what we were saying about people. Really, we've got an amazing group of people here on farm that are passionate, enthusiastic, and communicate really effectively about what we're trying to do. We have hopefully quite good cows. We have a really great trading relationship between me and the estate owner. It's quite a cool business structure. Yeah, we were fortunate. Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of aligned.
Great. So roll on 5-10 years. Would you like to own a farm like Reese, or what are your ambitions?
Yeah. So the goal is absolutely to buy a farm. In right now, interest rates, make that a decision that is financially not that sensible, but I think we probably will still go for anyway.
Yeah.
The hope is, I suppose, that with the thought of here carrying on for 10 years, that's something we can borrow against. And yeah, we're
The cash flows here.
yeah, I think so, and we'll decide in due course probably whether that's a dairy or a beef unit. I don't know. I think there's a business opportunity maybe to be had here, and we have 200 beef calves produced twice a year. That feels like it's could be quite a good enterprise.
Okay.
So
George, I suppose you're on a large estate here, and I suppose maybe 10, 12 years ago there wouldn't have been much discussions on the environment as there is now. So you're farming in balance with the environment here, and
totally. So like a huge part for the estate owner is about the environmental work that is happening here, and this River Meadows, I guess, is a really key part of that. So you wouldn't necessarily know to look at it, but it's like one of the key places for like lapwings and red shanks. So a really important part of the whole estate relationship and how that all ticks is about fitting in with the other projects that are going on the estate: environmental, arable, conservation. And that is the thing, like it is all relationships, and I suppose this is just part of that relationship and fitting in with that. Like with my hard dairy farmer hat on, I would come down here and think, oh crikey, what's this residual and isn't this a waste? But it's not, big picture is not about that. We would sometimes talk about how the dairy can be like a commercial core in the estate, but it's really important that it fits in with all the other stuff that is going on. The whole relationship is the key thing, isn't it?
I know.
So this would be in like higher level stewardship scheme or SFI?
So this is in higher level stewardship, GS9 if we're getting technical, which is it's like wading birds and like wetland area. We're not allowed stock down here in the spring when there's loads of ground nesting birds, and then from kind of July onwards we can, or June onwards we can start grazing it, and then start cutting it from July onwards. And the goal is to finish the season with it all grazed out to less than 10 centimetres in height, so that then the birds nest in the spring and it all grows up around them. We were on track for that until the water will burst its banks. We will see. It's still early, we could have a dry October, he says, and we'll be back down here grazing.
So even in the drought years that we've had, 2018 being the memorable one, did this burn up? I know it's on the side of a river, did it?
So this does burn up in the summer. What is quite cool is there's like 3 weirs down, so there's 180 hectares, there's 3 weirs going down through our bit, and you can, it's not irrigation, let's not get excited, but you can wind up the weirs and you can lift the water up by about 1 metre and flood out onto bits of it and then drop it again. But yeah, like everything, it burns up. Yeah. But the hope is, probably the key thing here is we grow a lot of dry matter in the spring because we can't graze here, and then we bring dry cows down here in the summer. So we destock the dairy in the summer to down here. All the young stock come down here, and so it's about that really. It's about destocking the more productive areas of the farm. when the grass runs out.
Any hazards with the cattle, fluke-wise or anything?
We do bulk milk tests for fluke, and that's been fine. We fluke the heifers when we serve them, when they come back up onto the fodder beet and stuff. We had a hemlock poisoning with some cows a couple of years ago, so that is a significant health hazard. We've struggled sometimes with young stock eating acorns. Like it's not what you, it's not easy to manage, is it? But it's just fitting. No. It's like really important for fitting in with what's going on.
But farming is playing a role so here as well, as you say. If the grass is to be cut down, there's less height on the grass. It's easier for the birds to nest. Obviously, they both work.
And it's amazing
well with each other.
And it's amazing. Like it looks like a nature reserve, right? Well, like it is a nature reserve, but a relatively large dairy farm is what is involved in part of the management of it, and all these things are just more nuanced, isn't it? It's not like environment versus farming. It's like the two are synergistic and come together. But that's hard to explain in a TikTok. So.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how deep we're going to go before we really decide. like it's seriously deep.
So what would be the birds? What sort of birds would be? You mentioned lapwings.
Yeah, so it's lapwings and red shanks are the key ones. Yeah. We get cormorants, we get loads of swans. Loads of different ducks down there. There's quite a lot of salmon fishing in that river, which is cool. Big pike in the winter. But it's you probably can believe it now, but like this will all go underwater in the winter, like up to my knees. And the reason so we've been a bit short of grass silage this season because this was all underwater for so long last winter that when the water went out, it was just like green algae. So what would have normally been grown quite quickly and been cut for bales on the outwintering, we had to get grass from elsewhere, and that's just eaten into grass silage. It's amazing. Like it's amazing there. Like we're between three quite big cities, up against the coast, and there's an amazing nature reserve like this. I think it's phenomenal.
So what cities are they?
Like Southampton one side, Bournemouth and Poole, and Christchurch are all just we're tucked in neatly.
Yeah. So you can hear the road there. So what's that?
That is the A31. But that's like if you're farming the southeast of England. Crikey. Like that is, we're not in West Wales.
So you'd see it if you fly over into Bournemouth Airport.
Yeah. You can spot my residual and complain. Oh, cowballing there.
George, just to finish, I suppose, on the people side again, for you didn't have a farming background, you didn't come own a farm or whatever, so for young people looking, where they have that ambition, what would you suggest for them? Oh,
crikey. I am still on the ladder, right? So I'm nervous about saying the way to go, but I suppose what has been helpful for me has been I've worked for amazing people that have been hugely supportive and have probably quite successfully beaten into me that it's really not all like that early bit is not about the money. Like we all chase the money, but it's about the experience and the exposure and the learning that comes with that. The money comes along afterwards, I suppose you hope,
choosing the right people is key.
The whole thing, it's all like there's the same cows and the same parlours on all these different farms. It is just people. So aligning with the right businesses, that's been huge for me. And then probably just the other part is that it just doesn't happen straight away. So like I wasn't dairy farming for ages, but I was probably dairy farming for 8 or 9 years before here came up, and then we've been here 5 years. Like it all takes time. It all takes time. Sometimes maybe we all want stuff too quickly and we lose patience and get out of it when we're quite close to. Like before I got here, I was in a great role, really enjoying it, but I was getting frustrated even then. I didn't feel like I was going quick enough. It's about being with the right people and then just being patient.
And opportunities do arise, I guess, then when you're
absolutely. What's that saying, isn't it? Opportunity of a lifetime comes along every 3 months. That is absolutely true. I couldn't agree with that more. Especially now, like there's loads of like it's it's tricky, isn't it, dairy farming at the minute? Like there's lots of people questioning what they want to do going forwards. As an industry, we find it quite hard to get good people, so there's loads of opportunity. It's just maybe trying to take the right ones is the thing. And for me, it's like taking the right one that doesn't in any way compromise here. Here is the goose laying the golden eggs, right? Anything that compromises here is totally not worth it. So
yeah. Great, well done.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.